grab your iPro, and let's get down to business. If you have loitered around a local gun shop showcase for more than 10 seconds, you have definitely suffered through the classic FUD lore. We're talking about folks screaming until they are red in the face about which chunk of lead owns the asphalt. They throw around mythical terms like knockdown power as if physics just magically bends to their will. And do not even get me started on the guys who swear that a massive muzzle diameter is the only ticket to surviving a violent encounter. Pump the brakes, guys. The actual science of terminal ballistics is infinitely more complicated than just buying the widest bullet available. The reality of the big bore. Let us establish a baseline fact right out of the gate. A heavy projectile is not some sort of mythical hammer of Thor. Sure, holding a .45 ACP cartridge makes you feel like you are chambering an artillery shell. But when rubber meets the road in a self-defense scenario, it is not vaporizing anyone on impact. And that ancient rumor about the 9mm acting like an underpowered BB gun, that garbage has been thoroughly destroyed by elite forensic labs for the last 3 decades. Stopping a threat requires 2 absolute non-negotiables: deep penetration and reliable expansion. Your round must punch through the obstacle course of the human body to reach the critical life support systems. Then, it needs to blossom out, creating a devastating permanent wound cavity. Missing either of those elements means you are basically throwing spitballs at a lethal threat. And trust me, buying the widest chunk of lead at the sporting goods store will not automatically save your life. There are dozens of external variables in a gunfight that dictate whether a bad guy drops or keeps charging. The Magnum Myth. Now, let us address the hand cannons. Whenever newcomers ask what the most lethal option is, they inevitably point to the absolute behemoths in the display case. I am talking about the .44 Magnum, the .454 Casull, the .500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. Make no mistake, these are purpose-built absolute monsters. They are engineered to stop a charging grizzly bear dead in its tracks. But let us look at the math. A standard .44 Magnum is throwing a 240-grain projectile at over 1,200 feet per second. That yields around 900 foot-pounds of energy right out of the barrel. Spectacular if you are trekking through bear country. But for everyday concealed carry, it is a colossal liability. The sheer violence of that recoil will completely blow your sight picture. Good luck getting your dot or front post back on target for a follow-up shot while your wrists are still vibrating. Furthermore, we have to talk about overpenetration. These rounds will blow right through a bad guy, punch through 2 interior walls, and end up in a parked car across the street. And let us be honest, you are not carrying a wheel gun the size of a cinder block inside your waistband. It is heavy, it prints like crazy, and it is going to sit in your safe collecting dust. The duty caliber debate. Let us pivot back to reality and look at the actual combat calibers. The big 3, the 9mm, the .40 Smith & Wesson, and the .45 ACP. In today's tactical landscape, the 9mm is absolutely dominating the field. The .40 and .45 are slowly fading into obscurity. Why the massive shift? Because the 9mm lives in the ultimate sweet spot of physics. It delivers enough terminal performance to shut down an attacker rapidly, while maintaining a recoil impulse that allows you to run the trigger at lightning speed with surgical accuracy. The metallurgical advancements in bullet design are staggering. Top-tier defensive loads from manufacturers like Hornady are light years beyond the hollow points our grandfathers carried. When you pair that state-of-the-art bullet technology with the ability to comfortably conceal 17 or 21 rounds in a flush-fit magazine, it makes perfect sense why the FBI and nearly every major tactical team in the nation transitioned back to the 9mm platform. Remember this golden rule. Larger calibers require larger frames and drastically reduce your ammo count. The 9mm allows you to carry a low-profile, highly capable weapon system that you will actually have on your person when evil comes knocking. The FBI standard. Let us dig into the forensics for a second. The true measure of a defensive round is not its intimidating name on the box. It is its ability to immediately disrupt a violent attacker's central nervous system or cardiovascular system. Following the tragic 1986 Miami shootout, the FBI completely overhauled their ballistics testing protocol. They established the undeniable gold standard. A defensive projectile must travel 12 to 18 inches through properly calibrated ordnance gelatin. Why that specific depth? Because bad guys are not made of naked gelatin. They possess thick sternums, heavily muscled torsos, and often wear heavy denim or winter coats. Your bullet might have to defeat an outstretched arm before it ever enters the thoracic cavity. If your round dumps its energy too early and stops shallow, the fight continues, and you lose. Hollow points versus ball ammo. Achieving that perfect penetration depth is only half the battle. The second requirement is massive tissue destruction. You desperately need a wide, permanent wound channel to drop blood pressure instantly. This is the sole purpose of a jacketed hollow point, or JHP. These projectiles are meticulously crafted to peel back and expand like a parachute the microsecond they encounter fluid. That expansion significantly increases the diameter of the damage while simultaneously breaking the bullet's momentum. This ensures that every ounce of kinetic energy is deposited directly into the target, rather than passing through harmlessly into the background. It is an incredibly precise scientific balance. Standard full metal jacket, or FMJ ammunition, is notorious for overpenetrating. It zips completely through the threat, leaving a narrow, pencil-thin hole that barely slows an adrenaline-fueled attacker down. Conversely, underpowered cartridges like the 32 ACP or 22 long rifle frequently lack the velocity required. They might expand beautifully, but they run out of kinetic energy long before reaching the vital organs. The reality check: 45 versus 9mm. This specific comparison is where the traditionalists start getting angry. But the facts do not care about your feelings, and size does not automatically guarantee a better outcome. The 45 ACP is an undeniable piece of American history. It is a massive, lumbering projectile that punches a highly respectable hole. However, when stacked against a modern, premium 9mm plus P defensive load, the venerable 45 is starting to show its age. The 9mm provides vastly superior recoil management, equating to hyper-fast split times. It dramatically increases your onboard ammunition capacity. And most importantly, modern 9mm hollow points consistently crush those strict FBI penetration requirements. When the adrenaline dumps and fine motor skills degrade, I absolutely want more opportunities to hit the threat, utilizing a weapon system that stays flat during rapid fire. Raw kinetic energy sounds great on paper, but absolute practicality will win a gunfight every single day of the week. The Contenders. Let us survey the current defensive ammunition market. Historically, the 9mm was viewed as the weak link. Critics loudly claimed it lacked stopping power. But brilliant ballistic engineers solved that problem entirely. Today, it stands as the undisputed champion for both elite law enforcement and civilian defenders. It is incredibly affordable to practice with, remarkably easy to control under stress, and offers massive capacity. Then we have the 45 ACP, the undisputed heavyweight of the 20th century. It undeniably carves a massive wound channel. No one is arguing that. But that heavy recoil penalty guarantees slower follow-up shots, restricted to a single stack magazine holding merely 7 or 8 rounds. If you start missing in a chaotic, high-stress encounter, your slide is going to lock back on an empty chamber very quickly. And then there is the 40 Smith & Wesson. Conceived as the ultimate compromise cartridge, it promised more terminal energy than the 9, with less felt recoil than the 45. Police departments bought it by the truckload for years. But the reality? The recoil impulse is notoriously snappy. It is an aggressive vertical muzzle flip that slows down target reacquisition. As modern 9mm ammunition improved, the marginal ballistic advantage of the 40 completely evaporated, leading to its rapid decline across the country. The new school, fluid dynamics. Let us look at the bleeding edge of ammunition technology that is actively disrupting the industry. We have thoroughly covered traditional lead expansion, but modern science has introduced an entirely new mechanism for stopping a threat. We are witnessing the rise of monolithic projectiles that completely ignore the concept of expanding lead. We are talking about precision-machined flutes and extreme fluid transfer. Innovators like Lehigh Defense are completely rewriting the rules of terminal ballistics. Their extreme defense and extreme penetrator lines utilize solid copper construction. Visually, they look exactly like the tip of a Phillips screwdriver. They do not expand 1 single millimeter. Instead, the engineered flutes aggressively scoop up fluid and eject it outward at astronomical velocities as the bullet rotates through tissue. This generates a massive temporary wound cavity that mirrors high-velocity rifle trauma, all while maintaining perfect straight-line penetration because the bullet refuses to deform. Additionally, being solid copper, these rounds absolutely destroy intermediate barriers like sheet metal or plywood without plugging up or breaking apart. This specific technology is an absolute game-changer for the micro-compact mouse guns. Consider the previously mentioned .32 ACP. Historically, it was strictly a backup gun caliber. But when you load a tiny pocket pistol with a Lehigh Extreme Cavitator, you are suddenly achieving over 13 inches of FBI spec penetration out of a minuscule Beretta Tomcat. It literally transforms a tiny, deep concealment piece into a highly capable defensive tool. Other manufacturers are joining the revolution as well. Norma produces the NXD line. Inceptor offers the ARX, which utilizes rotational fluid dynamics to spin tissue like a tornado. G9 Defense is manufacturing external hollow points that chew through targets like a hole saw. Not a gimmick. This is intelligent, aerospace-level engineering outperforming antiquated brute force. The bottom line. The engineering behind this modern ammunition is undeniably fascinating. But here is the brutal reality check that you need to hear. None of this space-age technology means a damn thing if you cannot put the sights on the target and press the trigger smoothly under extreme duress. The absolute deadliest caliber on planet Earth is the exact one you can shoot with surgical precision while your heart is pounding out of your chest. Shot placement dictates the outcome, period. A .22 long rifle that perfectly severs the central nervous system will end a lethal encounter instantly, whereas a .44 Magnum that grazes a forearm will leave you fighting for your life. You can drop a fortune on the most advanced, fluted, solid copper projectiles on the market, but if you refuse to hit the range, if you fail to build the subconscious muscle memory required to draw from concealment and establish a perfect grip, you are just converting expensive ammunition into loud noises. The endless internet arguments over the bare minimum carry caliber are never going to cease. Some shooters are violently loyal to the 9mm. Others refuse to carry anything that does not start with a 4. My professional advice? Find a firearm that organically fits your grip. Select a caliber that you can manage effectively during rapid fire, and train relentlessly until you cannot possibly get it wrong. So I want to kick this conversation over to the community. What exactly are you trusting your life to right now? Is your daily carry loaded up with premium 9mm, or are you a dedicated disciple of the .45 ACP? Perhaps you have already made the jump to some of this next-generation fluted copper ammunition. Drop your current loadout down in the comments section. I make it a point to read through your setups. If you found this tactical breakdown valuable, absolutely smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you are fully prepared for our next deep dive. Skills sharp, stay situationally aware, and I will see you guys out on the range.